What's up, you guys? It's Ben. So for today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the effects on your Amazon business when you run out of stock of one of your more profitable and more better selling products that you're wanting to sell on Amazon. How much of an impact does that have to your business? How much of an impact does that have to your listing? And how much does that, most importantly, how much impact does that have to your potential ranking? So when it comes to selling on Amazon, you will find yourself sometimes potentially running out of stock, and that can come from various reasons. Sometimes you might have basically under ordered, and the stock that you have ordered has just all of a sudden became very popular and shot up and just sold out very quickly. This can really be the case when it comes to reordering, and with such huge delays that we are experiencing at the moment during the COVID-19 situation, going out of stock is actually quite common. Okay, so you're not the only person that may be experiencing this. Okay, so I will talk to you first of all a couple of things to do potentially to how to avoid going out of stock, okay, and how to minimize the risk of going out of stock, and then what kind of effects it does have onto your Amazon business and ranking, etc. And me, as a six-figure seller now, I do have quite a bit of experience of running out of stock. I'm right now selling over 30 products at the moment, and there's been many times where I've run out of stock over the last 2 years. So first things first, when it comes to running out of stock, there's a couple of things that you can do first and foremost. Number one, you can actually start to slowly increase your price as you're starting to near the end of your stock. So let's say you are selling about 20 items a day and you have 200 items left, and you know that your stock is not going to come in the next couple of weeks or so. Start to increase your price slowly but surely. Now, if what's important here is not to increase your price drastically by 5 to 10 pounds, because you will see your rank just plummet straight away within a couple of hours. The key is to test the market and increase your price by around £1. Sometimes this is actually a really good time for you to find out what is the best price for you to sell your product, because sometimes, actually in quite a lot of times, I tend to increase my price by £1 and realize that my sales will still stay the same, which means that I'm actually losing money, the fact that because I've been selling on lower price than I should have. Okay, so you continue to increase the price until the sales start to drop down, and then you will actually get a good idea as to where is the breaking point. At which point will you start making less and less profit in general overall. The second thing you can do to potentially reduce the chance of you running out of stock is turning off your PPC campaigns. So when it comes to launching your product, 9 times out of 10, majority of our sellers put up PPC campaigns, which basically means we pay Amazon to advertise our products on the first page. Now, when you're starting to run out of stock or coming too close running out of stock, you might want to consider turning those PPC ads off. So every single sale that you make, basically you get the most amount of profit possible. Okay, now you may experience a slight drop in sales straight away, but that's okay, because at the end of the day you are making as much money as possible for each and every single sale. What I tend to do is I like to keep those sales going, so I tend to start bidding for my PPC campaigns less and less. So I still have the visibility, more so than I would without any advertising at all, but I'm spending a lot less on advertising. So sometimes I do tend to see less and less sales as I spend less, but sometimes those sales still stay the same. In general, when you are about to run out of stock, it's the perfect time for you to test your products when it comes to price, advertising, and images and various other things, because at the end of the day, you're running out of stock anyway. You might as well use this time to test the prices and everything else. Okay, now the third thing that you can do when it comes to avoiding running out of stock is try and pre-order beforehand. And what I mean by that is you want to tell your supplier that, hey, I'm running out of stock. Can you send some of the products via air, which basically will come in much quicker, around 1 week to about 10 days, and then a much larger shipment via sea. Okay, so that will most of the time avoid you from running out of stock or running low on stock. So let's say I have 1,000 units coming in. What I would say, and I know that I'm running low and I know I will be out of stock for quite a few weeks, I will say to my supplier, can you please send 200 of those units via air, which should arrive in the next week or so. I will pay extra for that shipping. And then the other 800 units can come via sea, which usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks most of the time, really. And that obviously will be cheaper, and that will be the bulk of my inventory. So if I really know for a fact I'm going to be running out of stock, I would try and consider doing that with my suppliers. So now, when it comes to running out of inventory, what kind of effect does it have on your business and ranking? Okay, now, when it comes to effect on your business, it does have quite a big effect, because at the end of the day, there's a product that you are now no longer selling for a short while, which is not making any profit. So if one of those products that you are selling that is very profitable or making a majority of your sales, you will see a noticeable change in your sales pretty much instantaneously, okay? Because obviously you're running completely out of stock. Now, when it comes to your rank, from me, my personal experience is it doesn't have as much of an effect as you may think. So what happens is, when I do go back in stock, I put on the PPC advertising straight away, and 9 times out of 10, I go back into my original ranking position between 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, I believe it's the Amazon's algorithm that remembers of my previous sales before I went out of stock. They do understand that, potential buyers are interested in my product. There is a lot of reviews going on this particular product. It is desirable, and therefore they kind of fast track my product back onto the first page on where it belongs. Okay, now if you happen to be out of stock for over a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, first of all, you should potentially really consider avoiding that by getting some products shipped in as quickly as possible. But if that did happen and it was completely unavoidable because the supplier did not have any stock, to send or anything like that, and sometimes these things do happen, then you will experience, slightly longer delay to try and rank back up on the first page. It will happen, and I'm pretty sure if you were ranking up first page before, it will happen again, but you will experience a slight delay. And the reason why you will experience a slight delay is because during that month or 2 months, other products have developed their rankings, they got more reviews, they have got more sales history, whilst you were on completely ground zero. But don't worry, at the end of the day, you're not launching your product completely from scratch, because you do have those verified reviews, you do have that sales history, and you should be moving up the ranks quite quickly. Only thing you need to do is make sure that your PPC campaigns are completely optimized, and you're trying to drive as much traffic and sales to your product as possible. In my opinion, the worst possible effect when it comes to running out of stock is simply you're not making sales. You're not making sales, you're not making profit, and it's one of the most frustrating things that I experience pretty much on a weekly basis, because there are so many things that can go in between, your supplier sending the shipment, there being delays, then UPS taking their time, then Amazon taking their time by checking in your products and starting to sell. There is so many times where your product exchanges hands from one person to another, that delays are bound to happen. So what you want to do is plan beforehand, okay? If you know for a fact that you'll be selling the product that you're selling at the moment for the next year or so, then don't worry, just order earlier rather than later, and try and avoid going out of stock as much as possible. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like the content, please consider subscribing and commenting below. I would like to know about, how do you deal with running out of stock? Are there any strategies that you like to implement when it comes to running out of stock, to try and avoid that as much as possible? Thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.